Today, an advisor to President Zelensky posted on X that he hoped a deal would be made at the earliest suitable date in November. But Russia, as we know, has yet to weigh in on the new updated plan. Now that Ukraine has agreed to cap its military size, what are some other holdups that could prevent Russia from agreeing to the peace deal?
Well, I think there are still probably two big issues. One is what happens to that territory that the Russians occupy of Ukraine. I think the Ukrainians have suggested in the past they might have some flexibility there, but the Russians are still demanding that Ukraine turn over to Russia land that the Russian army does not even occupy. And then the second question, I think, does deal with what security guarantees Ukraine would have. The Ukrainians want to have assurance that after this war, the Russians don't just come back and launch a new attack 2 or 3 years down the road.
And should Russia agree to the peace deal, what could be some reverberating consequences of this agreement on neighboring European countries?
Well, that'll depend on the terms of the agreement. I think there is concern in Europe, and there was concern expressed over the weekend when this original U.S.-Russia plan was leaked last week, that it sided too much towards the Russian side. Secretary Rubio then met on Sunday and seemed to have corrected a number of the defects from the point of view of the Ukrainians, but that probably then moves that plan away from what the Russians wanted. So my guess is there are still some very difficult issues to resolve on territory and security guarantees, and how this plan ultimately impacts European security will depend on whether those issues can be solved and then how those issues are solved.
A fire has engulfed a residential building in Hong Kong. Thick grey smoke can be seen pouring out of it. Emergency crews are there. Video shows bamboo scaffolding outside of the building on fire. Local media cite police saying several people are trapped inside.
And we have breaking news. The new prosecutor in Fulton County election interference case is dropping the charges against President Trump and other co-defendants. Chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has these breaking details for us. So, Aaron, this prosecutor took over after the previous prosecutor, Fani Willis, was disqualified for accusations of misconduct. So why is this new prosecutor looking to drop this case now?
He says that never before and hopefully never again will our country face circumstances such as these, the effort to overturn the 2020 election results. But in a 23-page decision, Peter Skandalakis, who is the head of this nonpartisan independent group that took over the case from Fani Willis, says the case is now nearly 5 years removed from President Trump's infamous phone call with the Secretary of State in Georgia asking for extra votes so that he could win the state and therefore the election. He says 2 years have passed since the grand jury returned charges, and there's no realistic prospect that a sitting president will be compelled to appear in Georgia to stand trial on the allegations in the indictment. And so he concludes, he says in his professional judgment, that the citizens of Georgia are not served by pursuing this case in full for what he says could be another 5 to 10 years. So in the end, there is no prosecution of President Trump and others who were charged in Georgia. There were a handful of guilty pleas at the outset of this case. It appears those will stand, but others who were charged, Mark Meadows, for example, the former chief of staff to the president, they will no longer be charged.
Jay, we got word. I mean, literally, you are, 2 to 3 blocks away from where we are here at our ABC News Bureau. We can see all the rescue crews, the police behind you. Tell us everything you know.
That's right, Kira. And as we ran to this scene, we could see National Guardsmen running here as well. You can see some of them set up here behind me. It is a chaotic scene. We just watched what appeared to be one of those 2 wounded National Guardsmen loaded into an ambulance that just sped off with a police escort. The scene seems to be concentrated, and it's difficult to see through these vehicles, but it seems to be concentrated inside the metro station. So if you look at that fire truck, on the other end of that fire truck, is the entrance to the Farragut West Metro Station. It's often where National Guardsmen stage here in Washington, D.C. as they patrol the metro stations and attempt to keep them safe. And I can tell you, maybe just about an hour ago, Kira, I actually emerged from that metro station and I saw 2 National Guardsmen standing there. There were some others in and around the station. We do not know who was wounded, but we can report, according to 2 sources, that 2 uniformed military personnel were wounded, and sources tell us that the suspect here was also loaded into an ambulance. And it has since somewhat calmed here, although it is chaotic. But I can tell you, just mere minutes ago, Kira, we watched as EMS sprinted up here toward the metro station as tactical units with what appeared to be the Secret Service, because we're only a block away from the White House, also staged here, DC Metro Police as well. Obviously, we are very much in the early moments of this. We will continue to get more information and bring it to you, but a tragic and a chaotic scene here.
No, because when I last saw you, you were here.
Oh, it's not on the same
6-7. Yeah. 6-7. Everybody. 6-7. Are you doing page 6-7?
We're not over that yet. We're not over that. Still very much a thing.
Put it up, 6-7. What page?
You got it.
Show me a question.
See you later. That's a bit wild.
Stuff for that lovely 6-7. You know, children get into trouble for saying that in maths school.
Oh, do they?
So,
Right,
yeah, they're
well,
lovely children in year 2.
Yeah, there we are. Sorry about
No, it's absolutely fine.
that.
It's fine.
I didn't start it, miss.
And arrivederci, Greta. Venice temporarily banning the climate activist after pouring green dye into the city's famous canals. The group behind the demonstration held signs saying, "Stop ecocide," and says the dye was environmentally friendly, by the way.
4 family members waving down a rescue helicopter after spending 20 hours holding onto their capsized boat off Florida's Gulf Coast. Among them, a 90-year-old man and a 70-year-old celebrating his birthday. The boat was taking on water so quickly they weren't able to call the Coast Guard.
We were standing on the top of the boat, but yeah, we were clinging into it. And with a 90-year-old, I spent almost all night holding him up, and then he fell several times.
They were all very tired. They were cold. Definitely happy to see us. Yeah, I would say that it was a pretty good birthday present for him.
Other family members called authorities after the men failed to return on time.
At least one suspect is in custody, according to D.C. Metro Police, Kira, and the condition of the National Guardsmen who were shot was not immediately clear, although they were seen getting medical attention and immediately rushed to ambulances and presumably to the hospital. So the injuries do appear to be serious, even though we don't know the specific condition. With a suspect in custody and the scene seemingly secure, a focus will turn to whether these guardsmen were specifically targeted. If that's the case, it would fit with what we've been hearing from law enforcement officials for a number of months now, that some political flashpoints in the country, whether that's immigration policies by the administration, the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict, even amid a tenuous ceasefire, those kinds of flashpoints have made people in uniform, be they military, law enforcement, government officials, people in uniform, have increasingly been targets, and that is going to be one focus of the investigation going forward, Kira.
2 storm systems sweeping across the country, bringing snow, rain, and severe weather, near whiteout conditions in the Midwest. Slick, icy conditions led to tractor-trailers sliding off Interstate 94 in Clay County, Minnesota, several ending up jackknifed, shutting down parts of the highway. An estimated 73 million people are expected to hit the roads.
For the holidays, it's always bad.
In Virginia, portions of I-95 south of Richmond shut down Tuesday after a tractor-trailer crashed and caught fire. The driver escaping with non-life-threatening injuries. From coast to coast, millions of Americans are on the move for the holidays, but rough weather already causing turbulence.
Very, very busy.
Either go early or go later.
We're going to get there when we get there.
In Atlanta, the control tower evacuated as winds up to 60 miles per hour moved in, grounding flights at the world's busiest airport.
The tower is evacuating and going down to minimal staffing due to a possible tornado over the airport.
Well, Sunday is expected to be the busiest travel day of the entire year. Nearly 3.5 million passengers are scheduled to fly. TSA projects it'll be one of its busiest days of the year, with millions of passengers projected to be screened, Michael.
I mean, you just really brought it each and every time. And, you know, no pressure, because, you know, your sister won it 10 years.
I know, right?
So much pressure, right?
But Bindi was just amazing through this whole process. Like, she and my whole family moved out from Australia, just like we did when she was on the show. And to have that experience, it just meant the world personally, but then also to what I and we represent. And then Whitney and I, we just formed this team where we could just pump all that positivity onto the ballroom floor. And it was just such a joy, honestly. I'll remember it forever.
Whitney, how does it feel the second time around?
Oh my gosh, it feels a lot different.
Yeah.
The first time I won, I was 19 years old, and now I'm 32. So I have kids now, and so to celebrate with them and my husband was so special. And then the fact that Alfonso gave me the mirror ball is kind of like really full circle for me. And just to have Robert as my partner, I mean, you guys know how special he is, but he's exactly this way in real life, which is crazy. But it was a very memorable, special season.
It sure was. I remember watching my sister raise that mirror ball trophy 10 years ago to the day. It was 11 years ago for you, and it just felt like, wow, what a privilege that we are here. And that pressure was there, but it was just the pressure to be the best version of ourselves, because we just wanted to say thank you, because I had no idea what to expect coming over, but the way everybody in America was just so kind and so embracing. I mean, it was just, it felt like flying. It really felt like flying.
Thanksgiving week.
It is. Do you have a Thanksgiving message? Is there something you're thankful for?
Many things I'm thankful for. I would encourage all people, especially with this beautiful feast that we have in the United States, which unites all people. People of different faiths, people who perhaps do not have the gift of faith, but to say thank you to someone, to recognize that we all have received so many gifts. First and foremost, the gift of life, the gift of faith, the gift of the unity, to encourage all people to try and promote peace and harmony, and to give thanks to God for the many gifts we've been given.
What do we know about the National Guardsmen?
Well, just got a call from D.C. police. The official said that this incident took place at 2:20. Active shooter, National Guardsman in that vicinity. At least one National Guardsman has been shot. The source did not give an update on that person's condition. The official also said that at least one suspect is down. He did not give any more specificity other than that the suspect is down. Obviously, they are now getting support from multiple federal agencies. D.C. Police will take the lead along with Metro Police as well. That particular Metro stop, as Jay pointed out, is only a couple blocks, if that, from the White House. The Metro that many of us use. I use that Metro, and it's pretty stunning that you would have that kind of, gunplay in a location like that. It is, in the heart of the tourist area of the district. So many people going down, coming up to work, as well as to see the sites be near the White House. Again, this is an all hands on deck. D.C. Police trying to get additional information. We should expect a briefing within the next hour or two after they get the scene, under control, and first and foremost, make sure that those injured are getting the appropriate medical attention.
The ShamWow guy, Vince Shlomi, is running for Congress and is looking to wipe the floor with the competition. The once prominent infomercial pitchman filing as a Republican to represent Texas's 31st congressional district, a seat held by Republican Representative John Carter, who's already announced he will be seeking re-election. The former pitchman told Fox News he wants to destroy wokeism in Congress and that he's been motivated by the political infighting in the country to run and make America happy.
Robert, for you, your family now has 2 mirror balls. How does it feel to share this with your sister? And you were saying you kind of watched as she was doing this, sitting on the sidelines, but you say it was different actually doing it yourself.
Completely
this time?
different. I mean, I think it's time for round 3 with my niece Grace. You know, she's 4, but we started young in the Irwin family.
So good.
Oh, we have you
look at that.
with your sisters. Look at that side by
It's
side.
just- and that's why I wanted to have that journey, because I watched my sister Bindi. She just flew, and to watch the way she changed and the way she embraced this, all of the challenges and the triumphs, and she just really grew so much as a person, and it was amazing to follow in her footsteps. But then I never realized just what it would do from a healing perspective. I mean, it really was a healing journey, and it was a way to say thank you to very important moments and people in my life. And then we could kind of create this dynamic where we were telling so many different stories, and we just tried to pump as much positivity as we could into that ballroom. And you know, I represent wildlife conservation. And I represent a message, and together I think we could really create this new legacy, and it meant everything, truly.
Не могу я спать. Хочется опять заново начать. Мой мелатонин, без тебя один. Капли на груди, смятая кровать. Не могу я спать, не могу я спать. Хочется опять небу рассказать. Мой мелатонин, без тебя один. Капли на груди, смятая кровать. After sex in the morning, we в объятиях тонем.